The last resort. Let's not even waste any more time and let's just dive straight into the calamity of the madness.
The love actually there.
So what would a normal day, what would that look like if it were better for you?
In the day, after I'm back home, I'm tired. I need to, touching each other, hugging each other, watching a movie, stuff like that. That's what I mean. But
okay, so he's expressing obviously what he would like more of in his relationship, in his marriage with his wife. The question is there anything wrong with what he's requesting? Well, let's see what the reaction that we get from Rebecca.
I already cook for you.
But you do it only one a month, one every 2 months. I want you're not gonna be busy from anything from your phone. Like let's say we are living in.
When it comes to the conversation regarding the cooking, I can understand why he would like his wife to cook for him, obviously more than once a month or more than once every 2 months or whatever. Completely get it. But at the same time, we have to be realistic. What is the dynamic? This is something that we don't know. And what we don't know is their work schedule amongst each other, their home schedule amongst each other. Now, at the end of the day, is it really that bad if your wife is cooking for you once a month or once every 2 months? No, because, but it depends on the context. It depends on the situation. I'll give you an example. In my previous relationship, the dynamic that we had was that because I would get home first a lot of the time, and especially if we was both on a different meal plan, okay, for example. And to be fair, especially when you're a couple that has specific meal plans due to your own goals in the gym, all that kind of stuff, right? Things can get hella even more complicated. But if you're a team, you can find a balance. So the balance would be very simple, okay? If I go on first, I would then cook my meal and not necessarily cook home, but have it ready. So any of the veg, any of the bits that needed to be ready, have them chopped up, have them placed around. So therefore, of course, when she comes in, either one, I can start cooking it for then and then. So therefore, it's fresh. As obviously she comes in, or depending on maybe if I leave in, then at least it's there prepared for her, and then she can come in and then cook what she needs to cook, obviously for herself. But at least it'd be prepped. And the same thing would happen vice versa. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so these two don't even have that type of dynamic. They don't even need to have that dynamic. You know what I mean? So really and truly, it's a case of where she can cook for him and da-da-da-da. More of the story is that is Zeid being too sensitive about the situation? Okay, or is Rebecca being too sensitive about the situation? This is where it gets hard because we really don't know the full dynamic. But what we do know is Rebecca works between 14 to 16 hours a day. So I can't imagine what it's like to work 14 to 16 hours a day and then you have to come back home and cook. That is crazy. If I'm in a relationship with somebody that works 14 to 16 hours a day, I promise you now I'm going to be cooking most of the time. And you know what? It's not an issue. Why? Because we're a team. You see what I'm saying? And I know that when she's available to cook, she's going to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? But this is where things get interesting. He also spoke about spending time together. Now that is very, very key. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you're lacking quality time together, now that is a bigger problem than them not being able to cook for you. Because the reality is this, you do not want to feel like you're in a relationship with your roommate. You see what I'm saying? But then all it feels like is we're just always passing each other. That's it. Maybe we have a little bit of intimacy every now, but we're just passing by. We're not actually spending quality time. And having intimacy isn't classified as just as necessarily quality time if that's what your relationship is all about. There's more to a relationship than just that. Although obviously intimacy is a big part of a relationship, but in the context is where it matters. And right now their context seems to say that they don't have a balance. They haven't been able to figure out a formula that can work for both of them. And because of that, they are at war with words, which is sad.
80s, like no phones.
I do not think that he wants, a wife from the 80s. He wasn't even born in the 80s. How does he know what a wife was like? Years building my career just to trade my manager's badge for an apron. You don't want.
And this is what I mean. All right. She's taking what he's saying in a whole different context. The context that isn't needed. Again, I asked the question, is there anything wrong with what he's saying? Is he asking anything that is moving mad? Or is he being simply reality ready, saying this is what I would like for our relationship? A meal more than once a month and spending time together. The meal part, listen, that part ain't that deep. Find the balance. Low-key moving mad for that one. But the part where he's been reality ready is asking for more quality time where we can sit back, watch a movie together. That is something that is so key. So freaking key. And if they're not having that, and now she's focusing more on the comment about the kitchen and not focusing on the comment about spending time together, says a lot about herself.
me to quit my job because you enjoy the money. But you want to make me feel like for working so much. You want someone to wait on you hand and foot. That's your culture. Because you want a wife that makes the money and also takes care of you.
But then this is where things start to get even more interesting, okay? Now she's talking about the fact that I'm bringing the money and I don't see you complaining. But you want more than just that. You want me to be the traditional wife, as also the wife that also brings the money too. And the maddest thing about it is he didn't even say a single word about that. Didn't even contest that. And this is where I always say to you folks, context matters in the conversations that we have regarding these cast members. And the context is very simple here. We have got a wife that is absolutely angry all the time. Why? Because she's so far gone in her masculine type of energy that at this point, anything that happens, she sees it as an attack. Because why? She wants her hard work to be appreciated. And because she's not seeing it being appreciated, she's flipping out. And I repeat myself, masculine, because I know as a guy, if I'm putting in all this work and it's not being appreciated and you want more and more out of me, even though I'm doing the best that I can, I'm going to feel a certain type of way. So I can understand her reaction because it's coming from a masculine side of herself. But and what he's doing the thing that's more on the other side. Now, I wouldn't call that the feminine side in any shape or form because it's not that. He's just being in the unconsiderate side. But is he wrong? Is he wrong? Based on what she just said, that's what puts him in the wrong. But what doesn't change is what I've already been saying. They have not been able to find a balance. And if anything, finding the balance between these two,
You cannot have both. Be honest. I'm feeling worse about our relationship right now than I ever have.
and finding the balance, well, guess what, folks? This is the reality of their balance. The reality of their balance is that their relationship isn't getting any stronger. So it's time to bounce. Whether they do it or not, that is entirely up to them too. But now we are going to dive into the next one. And this one right here, it's all about Russ and Poala.
I feel like you're really hard on Russ.
I'm tired of being criticized, tired of feeling like a failure.
Well,
and I'm not said it, but that's how I feel.
You know, Russ is tired, feeling like a failure. So why have you signed up to still be in a marriage with somebody that makes you feel like a failure? That's a rather moving mad type of attitude to have.
This is a real man, and you're trying to push this guy away, and he won't do it. That is a strength that most men.
Who is this guy again? Is he in this relationship? Isn't this the same guy that complains about Shekinah having unsolicited advice for other people's couples, but yet he does exactly the same thing? Who are you?
Don't have.
I don't have it.
If I was in his shoes, I would have been gone a long time ago.
Wait, who asked you? What? Who are you again? Wait, what is the premise of the show? The premise of the show is the last resort. They all go to a resort and then all have couples therapy. And the goal is for each couple to focus on themselves. I haven't seen this dude focus on his relationship one freaking bit. But guess what, folks? Now he's in a position where he's actually filing for divorce. The whole time he was filming this whole show, he was literally deflecting from their problems actually being highlighted. So therefore, he wanted to draw other people. But to be honest with you, the thing that I don't like the most about this dude is the way he speaks to these women. And I hate even more that he speaks to them with such disrespect. But at the same time, these women, they have husbands who won't even stand up for them. You had Sarper in one corner. Whenever Buddy over here was talking about Shekinah, instead of Sarper coming and defending his wife, Sarper would then say it in the little cutscenes, the little green screens, you know, when they do those there, that little bits there, the confessional rooms. He would be like, oh, Patrick, that. Say to his face and let him know. Defend your wife in front of her. And this is one thing that I've appreciated about Shekinah compared to Sarper. Anytime anyone has said anything that she doesn't like regarding her husband, she has always jumped to defend her man. I've never seen him do it once. And this clown right here, Patrick, keeps talking to wives in ways that is not needed. And these wives are with men who aren't freaking men. Say something, Russ. Stand up for your woman. But you know what? They're like, well, at least someone's in my corner. I've got a cheerleader speaking up for me. So let that cheerleader speak for me continue. What the hell are you talking about? As a man, you don't need a cheerleader in your life. As a man, you should be able to stand on your own freaking ground. If you can't do that, then you're not my type of man.
Him away with all your might, with everything you have. You are trying to make this guy miserable.
Watching you makes me miserable.
Literally find every reason to be upset.
Russ,
You will
what do you think
nitpick
was-
everything. You nitpick it all.
I'm tired of making you feel this way. You know, it doesn't hurt me just to hurt your feelings. It does hurt me. I don't want to.
Just bear this in mind. This guy literally just said, I'm sick and tired of you nitpicking everything that I do. Now, just to remind you folks, what is the context? The context is that he bought her another necklace for her for their anniversary, where she said, all you do is buy me necklaces. You never try and buy me anything that I actually desire and actually want. And I still stand by Paula's side on that. This guy is literally, he is a walking problem for himself.
I don't want to do this anymore. If I keep going with this, is not going to end up well. Not fair for me either.
But we can fix it.
I just don't see that anymore.
Now hold that thought. Why are you saying we can fix it? You just said that all she ever does is make you feel some type of way. Now she's crying, now she's emotional, now you're like, we can fix it. Nah, listen to what she's saying. Your relationship is done. Do you know who he reminds me of now? If you're a superhero fan, and to be fair, this is probably a slight reach of a comparison, but it's the best that I have right now. Russ reminds me of Iron Man. And I'm going to tell you why, you see, because both of them have a very common thing, and that is called creating their own problems, but never taking accountability. And what do I mean by that? Anybody that knows about the Avengers and whatnot, you will know that when it comes to Iron Man, when it came to Avengers 2, okay, Ultron, Age of Ultron, that villain was created by Tony himself. But guess what? He never took accountability for the fact that he was a part of the creation of that. You know what I mean, okay? And also, to be fair, any villain he's ever had has always been literally a replica of himself. So therefore, he's been the creation. In fact, in the very first film, he literally says, I realized that my company has been selling weapons to the government to go and basically do. So now I need to not do that anymore. So therefore, he becomes a superhero instead, but then continues still making problems for himself, but never actually acknowledges that a lot of the things that's happened within the whole phase from the beginning to the end was actually him being the problem. But hey, keeping your feelings about that, okay, my fellow superhero nerds, you know what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about. But Ross is exactly the same, you see? Your wife has told you time and time again, when you buy me something, buy something that means something. Stop buying me things that are literally what? Things that you want to buy me. And every time he does this, she obviously puts him on the spot and he doesn't like it. Take accountability. But this is why he didn't stand up for his wife when Patrick was talking nonsense. When Patrick was speaking to his wife in a tone that shouldn't be needed and saying things that shouldn't be needed. Oh, I would have run if I was me. Oh, good for you, buddy. But that in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Where's your accountability? Where's your accountability? But then the second that she says, you know, and don't get me wrong, clearly Paula has pulled the card of I'm leaving you many times. Something that he said and something that he said he was numb to. But here's the thing though, in this scene, she's finally pulling it again. But this time he's actually saying, no, I can fix it because I guess maybe he's realizing that she wasn't playing the game. She wasn't just saying for the sake of it, just what I'm saying, but she's delivered in a different way. But either way, though, the matter of the fact is when it comes to Russ is nothing but a puss. But listen, folks, hold that thought, because this is what happened on Between the Sheets.
I was not going to like the fact that I'm sharing this, but a picture frame of our time together, the pictures we had taken. And her mom, like, literally through the frame, explained that her mother can have these moments. And
you see what I mean about accountability? So now he's like, oh, I shouldn't be saying this to you because Porter's probably not going to like it. See, he's doing something again that he knows Porter's not going to like, but he's going to do it anyway. And now he's going to tell us a story about Porter's mum. Use that story as a scapegoat to why he is now saying this is why Paula behaves the way she behaves.
And that's what she's dealt with her whole life, and that's what she tends to do herself. You're just, you know, as much as you want to have a good time, she's just trying to find something wrong. You don't want to see.
Listen, it may be true that maybe Paula is someone that likes to always find something wrong. That may be true. But it doesn't change the fact that this guy, the way he handles his business just isn't cool. Creates his own problems, takes no accountability, and just wants to put everything on his wife no matter what. You know, end of the day, in a relationship, right, there's always going to be one sometimes who's going to moan more than the other one. But what it comes down to is when it comes to resolving the situations, you both have to take a form of accountability in some way and then work as a team. Okay, but sometimes we've got to think about what we did to put that person in that position to do that BS. But listen, what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. But now let's move on to the next one. And this one right here is all about G and Kara.
A lot of people, alcohol is not a problem. But it was a problem for me because I've had a beautiful brother that sadly passed away because of it.
Very sad news, man. Sad news.
But that's what it is. It doesn't have to do anything with her. And I'm sorry.
Aware of
I mean, it's nice to see for G to say that obviously he's the way he has treated Kara around alcohol wasn't necessarily due to himself. It was just due to his own, you know, him obviously losing brother due to that, which makes all the sense. But it's good that he's taking that accountability. But where does this go from here?
the connection between what happened with Guillermo's brother and alcohol.
I can't not take accountability. Sometimes I've gotten really wasted and done some dumb by the way.
I do wonder what these dumb things are, to be honest with you.
He was showing me that he doesn't support my goals. You know,
I do support your goals. I don't support the things I go after. Flirty with other guys and accepting drinks from other people.
I don't see myself being flirty. It's just
Before we even elaborate what she says, to be fair, accepting drinks from other people is definitely a wild thing, because especially if you're a woman, the amount of times women can get spiked and all sorts can happen to them when they accept drinks from strangers, not cool.
myself being flirty. It's just how I am. You know,
Flirty with other guys and accepting drinks from other people.
I don't see myself being flirty. It's just how I am. You know, so like I wish you had trust in me to know.
I can understand her saying I wish you had trusted me to know and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, sometimes it's not even about having the trust in you, it's just the fact that you're still happy and open to take drinks from other people. That is wild. But listen, folks, that's not where it ends. But before we move on to the next one that actually happened in between the sheets, let's go back to another statement that was made. She says, after he spoke about the drink, blah, blah, she also said that I feel like, you know, he still should support me. And the matter of the fact is, maybe he supported to begin with, but it's very hard to support somebody that goes off and drinks and acts silly and also accept things from people that they shouldn't be. But to add more fuel to the fire,
The 3 steps. Besito, a hug, but then you start touching that person. That tells you a lot. You're working out. Wow. Random guy in a club who was literally talking about adult content with that guy and gave all the information to that person. And I was there like, I didn't know what gaslighting was. I didn't know.
so therefore, I don't know why Carl would want him to support her if this is how she's behaving. If what he's saying is true, what fool would want to support, you know, anyone behaving in this way, in this manner, especially if that person is somebody that you're married to, somebody you had a child with. I didn't know a gaslighting until I met Kara. I don't blame the guy. Either way, though, let me know your thoughts. Now let's move on to the to the next one. And this one right here is all about Shekinah.
Would you be willing to, you know, say something to Taste along the lines of, you know, listen, it was a poor choice of words. I regret that I shouldn't have said those in the moment. I didn't mean the triggering or whatever. So that you were doing your best to diffuse and acknowledge your part in that.
You know, sometimes in life, it's one thing to try and apologize to somebody, but then at the same time, that person has to be, doesn't have to be open to the apology, but sometimes apologizing isn't about how the other person's going to take it. It's more about at least knowing that you've done the right thing. That's one of the key things about apologizing.
You'd all be able to carry on. I feel like everyone else would as well.
I just don't feel comfortable sitting across the table from her.
I think you have to be, because I mean, we are adults, you know, but at least you can explain yourself more.
Now hold that thought. This is what went down on Between the Sheets.
I do think that both of us were wrong, and I wish we'd just sit like as a woman and have a conversation.
I did try to.
I realized then at that puppet therapy that it was pointless to apologize to them because, I mean, I couldn't even do it. I went there with the intention of doing it and I couldn't even get it out. Like, they were down my throat before I could even have a chance.
Now, I do find it very, very, very interesting, to be honest with you, that, you know, Dias is saying that, you know what, yeah, we should have actually just made up as women. Why are you lying? There was not one point where Thais was even trying to be cordial. No, with Shekinah, to be fair. But then again, there was times when Shekinah claims that she had that intention, but each time she met everybody was always hostile with her. And that is true. And also on top of that, given the fact that Patrick would have been there to probably step in and say some BS anyway, the chances of Thais even being able to apologize or have some sort of mature adult conversation with Shekinah would have been very, very unlikely. But hey, The matter of the fact is the damage has been done. These two will probably never see each other again. We'll obviously never be friends, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? But it is quite sad to watch human beings, not adults, people who are alleged adults, not be able to solve things in the ways that they should be. But the maddest thing about it is this, right? The whole situation with Thais and Shekinah, it all started because Shekinah wanted to inform Kara of what Patrick was telling G regarding the divorce and how he can take half of what Kara is already earning, if not more. And the maddest part about it is that hasn't even been spoken about since. The fact that Kara is still here defending Thais and doing a madness is nuts. Shekinah was actually trying to have your back. She was trying to have another woman's back. And so far, ain't nobody had a woman's back in the show. Shekinah was trying to give it to you. But hey, you know what though? Things obviously get escalated because Thais then didn't like the fact that, and this is another very, very interesting point, but then Thais did not like the fact of how Shekinah was then talking to Patrick and trying to shut him down and whatnot. And that's when Thais decided to get involved and obviously become physical, something that she should never do in the first place. But the thing that is quite ironic about that is that I said to you earlier, Shekinah will always defend Sarper whenever anyone comes from, regardless of regardless of the status of their relationship. And the maddest part about it, as I said it before, none of the men have actually tried to defend any of the women, especially when Patrick has spoken. But it's seeing that one moment when Thais decided to then attack Shekinah. Why? Because she was in a position where she was like, no, I've had enough now. I now want to defend my man. So how is it we've got two women who have actually got the decency to defend their men are the same two women who are now going at it? It's wild. Both of them women should be looking at their men and thinking, why are you two being so useless? If anything, Patrick should be trying to defuse the situation, but he's not. In fact, he's out here now trying to cause war with other couples, that being Poala and Russ. I truly hope that we never get to see Patrick ever again. And to be honest with you, it sickens me that next episode, we've now got to see him and his bloody brother. And both of them together is just a whole, oh God. That's just a whole other story. But boy, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But with that being said though, folks, let me know, do you believe there was any part of this that was actually genuinely reality ready? Or was the whole thing nothing but a moving mad calamity? Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.